apologizes to that, and it kind of panel reflection, so that it can resonate in a with, okay, you guys, you had the potential or options yekuti say yekusunungura nyika, from these power structures, but you didn't. Saka that self-reflection, I think, batsira kuti resonate his messages, if it's honest and sincere. But anyway, let's move on. Kuna the next one, I think it was Muzwenkos.
Okay, thank you, Mofu. Mofu, zvinonakidza so zvichinzwa zvimwe zvinhu zvasikambotaurwi nemawo zvitauro. At least we now know that out of all the war veterans, ana Black Jesus wakarowa vanhu, pabuda one anyasokuti takamboshandiswa tikarowa vanhu, tokumbira mutiregerere. And taishandiswa and patakanyara because taiti discipline one. But ndoda kubata chinhu one chataurwa na smarters chafadza chekuti, why did he go into names and describe their crimes? Because 2017 what they did is dzakatenderedza president ndianani adzizikani dziri kuitei, we didn't know. Now the list is there. It's now up to him, the president, who is the leader. Kana howe singatangi kuorera kumusoroka, he must come out and say, kuprove out vanhu vakaappointa vanzimbabva vari kudai zvizo zvavari kuita. Then if he failed to do that, they must be removed and action must be taken starting from now. That is the best and maybe the most brilliant thing, actually very, very important, to make it different from 2017. Because 2017, who is the Mbava? Now we now know. But because he's close to Mnanga, so I'll explain us, yes, because of that, they must take action.
You're right. Yeah, Pagaipa. Yeah, Ataura, some of them even went on to explain my crimes, my land barons, Varutora Matenda, Varukuma Gold and Ascot. They don't pay taxes to the government, but I know, but there's some 7%. Then he shares with ED. So he went deep into each and specific, which I think helps. Right, got to move on. Next one, Arkuya, I think that was Najay.
Hi, Uncle Titus, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Titus, I get disappointed. Note, smarters and come jamba, so get jumping castle. Smarters chi. There's nothing new chatarwana na GEZA. That information, we had it all along. Told you this is what's happening. So I don't know whether or not it was an expose. I don't know. But what I know is there's nothing to celebrate, to be hopeful. I'm disappointed because it is, or at least to me, that he seems to be trying to use Zimbabwe to settle personal. That's their personal issues. They do not affect the average win. So I'm against that whole thing. Because when we are discussing issues, what's the issue of would you hate or would you want to date? Who's best candidate? What's best for the country? But I get that. Then on the issue, he seems to be the other jump, not smart, jump. Oh yeah, it is the individual, the criminals around him. We know where language is coming from. This card has been played before. And the issue with that, he's saying we do the president or the individual concerned. And such, they do not have to be out there in the open. They can afford to stay in the comfort of their home, or they can afford to be out of the country. They can afford to be anywhere else. It's actually safe until the 31st comes and goes and they assess the situation. So I don't know what he is hoping to achieve. I don't know what he means. The action is started. On the other side, it's interesting from a theory because I'm like, okay, you are the kind of guy who wants to announce to his prey that I'm coming for you. Something which I really like. So from that point, it's exciting for this that my comrade Geza. It's interesting from that viewpoint, but from a realistic viewpoint, I don't see what that achieves for the reasons that I've already mentioned. Then on the 31st in of itself, I'm conflicted because I'm thinking maybe there are legitimate reasons why he's not speaking of assembly points, communicating to where we're going to meet. So now we know from Zambezi to Limpopo, Plumtree to whatever the other end of Zimbabwe is. That's his intention, or at least that's what he has said. But in terms of where people are to meet, where if it's a match, where the match will be headed to, that information has not been disseminated, and the pushback might be, well, there are strategic reasons for withholding that information at this point in time. But if you are announcing, now to balance it, if you're announcing to people that, yeah, we are coming for you, then you might as well tell the masses, this is where we are meeting. So I really know what's up
Is
with
it about a meeting point, or it's just that he's rallying the people,
but
making a call
but
to say, Guti, these demonstrations we're expecting them to be worldwide? I mean, countrywide.
countrywide, yeah.
Yes. Is it about assembling at a specific point?
So
Do you think that will be something that is quite strategic for
but
for him to
now
announce? Mm.
that's a good point and a very good question, Uncle Jed. So if people rally and protest in Chitumbiza, it's ineffective. There are strategic points that you need to protest at. If we rally in Mavuku there, in Mutoko there, in Murewa there, we know they are hot. If we are one, we are within your state. So, like from 2017, where the march was, where people met and where people were headed for that march. So I think the location matters, Uncle Jedza. And we hope for the best. So I think there is a need to actually advise people where they ought to meet, and at the same time, I was thinking, you cannot expect Mnangagwa to be taken out the same way his predecessor was taken out. He was part, and he strategized that move. So these guys have to come up with something completely new to, if they are hoping to get him out. But like we said the other day, this is pure speculation. We remain to see. The 31st is only around the corner. It will be Monday week this day. So let's wait and see.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, for that. We appreciate. Right. We are reacting, ladies and gentlemen, to the Geza press. I'm quite sure most of you guys now had, the chance to hear, the whole thing and, and stuff like that. Looking at how he presented, this, of course, I try to draw parallels or similarities or try to compare with the events of 2017, where the rallying call back then was to remove criminals around, the president, of which some of them were not privy to. We did not know them by name, but we ended up figuring out who were the people that were targeted as people, scrambled. People, ran away, from the country. And now we have, like what Smarter has said, that he has been he mentioned people by names. He mentioned people in the business sector. He mentioned people in the political, sphere. He mentioned people who are occupying ministerial positions. He mentioned people in other areas where they believe that, where he says that these people, by virtue of occupying these, they are using their position in corrupt deals. They are using their position to enrich, themselves. So the question, then becomes: is he not using what we've known all along, like what you said, as a rallying call to to get people galvanized to say, "Kuti, when we do go on the 31st, we have got this in the back of our minds, that we are going there because of these reasons," sort of like giving a war cry before people actually go out there and do the demonstrations. I thought there was some sort of cleverness in that, in terms of him giving us, these names and some of the things that these people are doing, sort of, to get people aroused in such a way that they're up there in terms of, their feelings. They're up there in terms of knowing what is it exactly that, he's saying that, we need to be, tackling in as far as, this issue, is concerned. So I don't know, Kuti Ipababa Pakutarisa, the way that he started his address. We know some of the names, he mentioned them before, but this time around he went deeper and gave us more of these names to actually tell us kuti vana veZimbabwe mamiriro akaita zvinhu imi hapana chenyu. These are the people who are controlling everything.
Absolutely, Ango. I think it's a bit radical compared to the generalization in 2017. Criminals around. I think this is more confrontational. So what it does is, I know, confront specific individuals, and like you said, they're highlighting them, Kuma citizens, Marona Koti. These are the people that are supporting the corrupt system. Saka, what it does, I think it alienates those guys Vataurwa. So a clever move. I don't of the generalization who are the criminals around the president, but now he's gone for specifics. So I think that was a bit confrontational, and I think it done for a very clever reason to say these are the highlights, those are the people. So those people, Vataurwa, I'm sure they've listened to this. I'm sure they have listened to this already. In a way, they have to kind of unite and be a team, so to speak. But in a way as well, sometimes it brings more attention to you individually, and with whatever action they will be doing, it will be interesting then to see what happens next.
Uncle Tata.
Yeah.
And Garai Machinga data, don't forget.
I don't think. Right. Okay, let us move on. Right. Geradona. Anyway.
No, I'm here. Uncle Musadaro, uncle.
Kongo kazvara kumeso nekusumudza ruoko kongo
uncle Musadaro, ndi materesi said.
Serious, that is I look for you, I was like, where is he? I thought you're one of the people, was dropping. But anyway, thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Uncle, and hi guys. I was interesting, presser from Michelle there, but maybe my submission, guys, Ngatsakanga Wakuti Geza himself is ZANU-PF to the cause of Toda. So Ngatsa Pakangano Ipapo, and when he's making his submissions and when he's fighting, let's also understand Kuti. In as much as some of the way he's putting it across, this is still within ZANU-PF, and somehow we are going to be my beneficiaries, and this is how, like what happened 2017, but also we ended up realizing we're not even beneficiaries at the end of the day. So naming people, Kwandiri Nini, it's very strategic, it's good, especially coming from someone who is internal, because it's not a culture within, only when you're outside, that's when you name people. But ZANU-PF already is a problematic organization, right? So it's actually not only about those people that you mentioned, guys, but it's about, it's a bigger fight. My understanding is we are going to jump from this ship to another. I don't know where this one is going until we figure out where we are going, because we realized that on the other side it's not really working. So that's why our hopes are coming from within this ZANU-PF. Yet, knowing very well that we are dealing with a problematic organization, right? When Geza mentioned, my other reaction, when he mentioned plan tabutanga izvezvi, I think the exposure itself was the plan itself. Like, that's how I picked it up, because the regime is already in panic mode. It knows that there are elements that are happening around the country and everything, and already you will see from now going forward, all those individuals, you will see the way they will be trying to defend themselves, trying by all means to prove that they are not really the person I'd mentioned when I guess, from my understanding. And we are also going to see how the president is going to react. So in a way, it's not like Geza and his team are going to go door to door knocking, because the difference here is that I don't know why people keep on comparing what is happening now with 2017, because there is no coup already that's happening. But 2017, we heard about the criminals when the president was already captured, if not mistaken. And the announcement was made from the pockets, meaning to say the guys had already captured the country. And so they were trying by all means to sanitize the entire operation. That's how I've understood it. But this one, the announcement is being made from a hiding point, whereby that's why you see even Politburo things, they were trying by all means to present a picture which all is well. Even Chiwenga himself was next to ED, and also presenting this picture as if all is well. So these are two different, turning points in history, whereby right now what Geza is doing, from my understanding, he is rallying people to come on the 31st, right? Panambofunza about meeting points. The meeting point is the country itself. It's like there's not going to be, my understanding, there's not going to be ngatisangane pachigowanyika, ngatisangane kana pa new lands or what, ngatisangane pakati. No. The meeting point is the country. So even if you are online, even if you are in country, that's where the mobilization is happening. It's within the country, because the problem that's emanating is not from a location, or it's not from a specific sector, but it's a nationwide kind of a problem. So it needs reaction from all walks of life. In this case. So I wouldn't come with a suggestion that my meeting points, my timelines, it's only the 31st. When people are angry from the 31st, we move forward like that. That's how I picked it up here. And then maybe my last submission, I'm going to put it's something Jaguti, if you see the way Geza, he's becoming a one-man show kind of the way he's and I don't know how. I also want to understand from other colleagues also, how confident are we going to be in terms of mobilizing this whole thing, pushing the agenda? Because last presser, he publicly mentioned the name Chiwenga as if he's behind this whole thing. But then today, in the afternoon, Chiwenga appears next to the president, Varu Politburo, speaking about all of these things, against, obviously, very best. So it's kind of like he's exposed as well. It's like he's by himself. He's just a man who's trying by all means to cause, despondency, or kind of, according to what ZANU-PF would actually view it. So, guys, I will speak a lot, but that's my submission for now in my reaction to the presser from Geza. Thanks, guys.
Iowa, thank you very much. Something, that was interesting about, that presser. I went there 30 minutes before it started. And there were about 966 people that were waiting. But as we moved towards the beginning of this, space, it jumped to 6,000. No, it jumped to 4,000. Then immediately, to 6,000. And then when he started, the presser, itself, then the numbers went straight to 10,000, 11,000, 14,000, 16,000, 18,000. I saw somebody hit 17,000 within 17 minutes, and then I think it ended up 24,000. So looking at the interest that this has generated, can we conclude that there's a buy-in into this
was
thing?
also listening.
So can we safely conclude that there is a buy-in
Yeah,
into this thing? Because one thing that I know for sure is people in Zimbabwe, it can be expensive for them to be on Facebook, but on YouTube, trust me, they will find the data to go on YouTube. So in terms of the reach, in terms of the coverage, in terms of this message going to be carried from YouTube and ichipinda mu vanhu, are we not seeing a lot of buy-in into this such that on the 31st this can actually be something that can
I beg to
blow
I
out?
beg to differ. I beg to differ. So
You beg to
we have,
differ?
Chemba
we have
omira neje
24,000 people watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
The overall population in Zimbabwe today is say. So that's what we
Don't give me that. No, don't.
yeah, Pete.
Neji,
But
let me let you in on this, Mira. I've been doing this, for a minute, for a very, very, long time. Do you know, Gucci? Do you know, Gucci? People can cast it on TV, and you can have a family of 10 watching. So, let's give an example. Gucci so cast for TV, and we are saying that there's a family of maybe about 5 or 10. So already during that broadcast, if I put it at 10, there'll be 240,000 people. So
I think
no. And also let us, and also we go on to look at the numbers that will watch this in the next 24 hours. And then the numbers of people that watch that, and then what then happens to the people who are cutting the video, trimming the video, putting it on WhatsApp, and sending it out there.
And those small clips are getting average of 30K views. Most people in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that's one thing. That's one thing that I've mastered in terms of. That is one thing that I've mastered in terms of doing my live shows, and stuff like that.
Uncle Jed. So
Yeah.
let me finish. I think before we appreciate the point that's being made. So we have 24,000 people who are watching, notwithstanding all the factors that you bring up. If your baseline is buying into the idea, not all those 24,000.
Those are gadgets. Maybe there are 5 people behind one gadget.
Mira, hold on. Mira.
Understand, Gucci, some of the people who are watching it are not watching because they are buying into the idea per se. Some are just watching because of entertainment. Some are watching because they want to strategize and see how can we mitigate against this wave, right? So let's not.
It does not matter, Neji. It does not matter. No. Mira. Don't try. No. You are attacking almost everything. You are attacking almost everything here.
Every submission, then it becomes like you're just looking at things one-sided. Like they will balance you, but I think all your comments you just trivializing it, making it non-event.
Exactly.
Because
which
the
are
numbers of people that are watching is per gadget. It records the gadget. It's not like 24,000 people. It's 24,000 gadgets that have tuned in.
and
So
Uncle,
just imagine
that was
how
just
many
on
people will be
Uncle
YouTube.
watching
Jada,
the each
Uncle
gadget.
Jada.
It does not matter now whether these are the people who are trying to get information and then try to do a count. It does not matter. What I am saying here
Just give
is
him an example, Nyamashisha, that you had one gadget. We're over 1,000 people here listening.
exactly.
And we are not counting that to the 24,000. And that's just
Exactly.
one other option.
And inini kwandiri kuno kuti tori 10 tachikuteerera Uncle Jet.
And then move on.
But also, guys, you have to base it on, well, 8 days ago, there was a video that came out. How many views does that have? And that's just on his channel. How many times was it shared and watched on those channels as well? Because at the moment, that video has got over 200,000 views. And that was just from 8 days ago. That's crazy.
But guys,
And it's 8,000. It's gadgets. It's gadgets that gets recorded.
Uncle J, you mean
Yes.
the baseline was, it seems people are buying into the idea, right?
No. I didn't say it seems. I was asking whether this does not create a buy-in as many people, watch this thing.
Ango, maybe if I could come in. I understand Nejay is coming from, let's just say, from a legal point of view. But in digital marketing, there's what we call, the trend analysis, where we track, let's say you launch a campaign, you want to gauge interest, you want to gauge traction of that based on the first instance of interest. Just looking at one thing here, YouTube, right? If you're going to look at 24,000, there is a snowball effect, like what my brother was saying when that's there. Say 24,000 on a YouTube video, right? YouTube is against the traditional way of listening to broadcasting or watching or following broadcasts. You would think that ZTV, right? ZTV, in terms of their viewership, in terms of their whatever customer base, right? You want to compare that to YouTube. But you cannot then put a population of a country to say 15 million, right? Because the moment you say 15 million, there's a subset that you are leaving out, that you are ignoring. And you are doing this for obvious reasons. Major is just trying to be major. Because it's not everyone in Zimbabwe, right, who is politically congendized. There's no way that we can expect 15 million people to participate in our politics.
And we've got children in that 15 million.
Yes, we have children. Right. So our country is a special case, Ango, in the sense that you see a lot of people now, they understand politics, they understand the constitution, they are lawyers. It's because things are not okay. Right? In a normal country, you would not know even your MP. You would not know. There are people who do not know their presidents to say what is the name of their president. Ours is not a normal country. Right? So Ango's point is look at the interest. Right? Look at the interest. It looks like everyone was waiting for this, for you to connect to your YouTube. 24,000 on a 20-minute video, right? Then you start to track the numbers, even the next 24 hours. That information, how it's going to be duplicated on TikTok, how it's going to be duplicated on Facebook, right? Just that interest, right? There were people who were reaching out to me through WhatsApp, sending me the link, right? Link to say, hey, are you watching? A lot of people. So there is that interest. Then there are people who are listening through a WhatsApp space, right? Kana kuri kumamisha, there's one phone. And vanhu vakamira pamagrosa vachiteerera pa one phone, maybe akaiswa pa an amplifier or a PA system. It's the interest, right, that we are tracking here. That there's an effect. Then the last point that I just wanted to make, Ango, munhu anobvunza kuti izvona tipe venue, munhu ari kuziva kuti could this street fight that I've been invited to, what are the rules? Nejay doesn't know the rules. So you cannot ask for the venue. Maybe this is a nuclear war. Maybe this is a cyber war, right? Which you cannot then put demarcations to say, this is the venue, right? And Katashka venue, flying kicks and all that. right? You don't know. You don't know how GEZA is going to execute, on this one. So you cannot ask for the venue. Maybe I just prayer. Maybe, hold on, let me finish.
You just adopted onto this idea. Yesterday you're calling me
I'm not,
terrorist. Now hold on to the strategy.
Right. Okay,
yes, it's
guys.
because
Okay. Okay. Can I
Uncle,
have you, Smarters, to finish off? We've got so many people, guys, that want to to react. Let's give other people, the opportunity. So, Smarters, quickly, land, and then we move on to the next speakers,
yes.
please.
What I'm just doing here,
Uncle
let me
Jet,
just
2
finish.
seconds. Ndikupledger.
Arupleje.
Anziko, andikupledger.
And Arupleje.
Yes, Cyril, yeah, iwe. Musi yataure, Cyril taura zvaro taura shamwa.
Yadzikwe paspace chete ndozvandinongoda kuti.
Mati.
Ndangopledger $50 kuti neje yadzikwe paspace kusvika musi wa 31 wapfuura tozomuona musi wa5.
Ndiri ndiwo wataura iwewe chao.
Aiwa, okay, guys, okay, let us move on. Right, let us move on. Ruvimbo, can you come in?
Oh, guys, you guys are so funny. Oh my gosh. Nejay, I mean, no, should get on Nejay these days. But no, he's good people. Hey guys, now make up my notes patamba. Them ones you just have to grab something quick because he was spitting them names out quick, boy. Tagurei, Auxilia, Wicknell, Nematenders, Scott Sagupwanya, George, Mr. 10%, Obey. Oh my gosh, the list goes on and on. Is CIA is in those because I've always known the CIA is involved in our country in some way, one way or another. And then also he confirmed this thing that I kept asking people don't want to talk about it. Kuti Ed is a spy. So already we don't allegedly allegedly he's a spy for the Rhodesian Front. And then it just puts things into perspective for you, right? Like, okay, so you've got Ed and his team, but there are other names that he didn't bring. You did hear the Billy Rottenberg. You also heard Maporofita Ene Maaya. So how are they being helped by the international parties? If July Moyo is a CIA agent, what role does the CIA have to play in our current circumstances? Because they would have an interest to make sure that Ed stays in power, someone that they can control, if that is the case. MI6 would have the same. And I also know that Mossad is very interested in Zimbabwe currently because Israel is in the process of doing a deal for tourism and whatever. So they also have interest. The JFK files have revealed so much. So let's not look at ourselves right now in the position we're in from an isolated position. Let's also understand that there are other factors that are connected here. And let's begin to try and understand what roles do they play and how do we need to be positioning ourselves. I think when it comes to whether people are interested, I think many of us, the ones that create content, we have seen that anytime we've spoken about GEZA, the level of interest on that type of content gets more engagement, more. And when I say engagement, not just views, people commenting, people Zimbabwe on the ground. They're commenting. I sometimes sit there half an hour literally going through my comments on TikTok, and you see what people in Zimbabwe are saying. People are tired. People are not happy. And so I definitely think that there's a lot more here that we need to be talking about that we're not touching on. We need to be keeping an eye on it. But I think this guy is a goner, guys. Like, look, everyone's been commenting on how skinny he's got. He looked stressed. He's a goner. But one key thing I'll land on is this. We have to be very careful because he said something along the lines, Yaguti, he wants Ed gone. He in his rhetoric, he keeps kind of separating Ed and Gandanga Jake. Oh, I'm even not even pronouncing it right. And then ZANU PF. Saka, these guys do not want to remove ZANU PF. They're doing this for the purpose of protecting ZANU PF. So they are now going to take Ed out, but still the snake is going to remain the same. So really and truly, at this point, as Zimbabweans, what are you going to do? Because it's very clear that what's happening here is to remove Ed and his criminal parties. But there's certain names that I heard in Gold Mafia that I haven't heard. I'm suspecting now, do these people have a role to play to help these guys come out? Because maybe if this is a mafia battle, maybe one mafia is saying, okay, you've taken our territory now we want to claim back this territory. There's just so many questions. And so that's just my submission for now.
There are indeed so many questions, Ruimbo. Thanks for that observation. I hope you've got all the list. Somebody has sent me a message, Kotijo. Can you ask somebody to do ask someone on the space to do a poster 442 formation with the substitutes, technical team, coach medics. I'm not so sure if he's referring to the criminal team, to sort that out. I think I've heard at least 20. I think you mentioned at least over 20 people. So for those who have got time and energy, maybe you can sort that out and put the line up there for us to see. Let's move on to the next speaker, Mkoma Denford. Denford. Right. If Denford can asipo, let's move on to Dr. Sam.
All right. Thank you, Nkoma Titus and Uncle Jed. That's good. Guys, when I was listening to this press conference, a one-man press conference, ndopandazonzwisisa kuti vanhu vakatrainwa kuhondoka. Whoever was training those guys is a master strategist. These guys they are well organized. Well organized. The way they present their facts, the way they talk to the nation, the way they mobilize. These guys are real masters of intelligence, and we cannot take that away from them. I hope and I wish kuti dai maopposition parties edu dai vane robustness yakadai, I think we would go far. But maybe in just to help in understanding this, in my major takeaway when the list was being mentioned was the issue of activation of Section 212. We discussed this last time, that was the legal clause, yakashandiswa pa 2017, that the criminals surrounding the president. So when this list was mentioned, it's not necessarily, yes, a rallying cry, but it's also the grounds upon which legal action, you can justify whatever move that they want to take. Because once you start saying that the president is surrounded, it is captured, that then triggers the same repeat of 2017, because it was a high court judgment that was successfully passed and endorsed that the military can intervene, especially subsection B, whenever a president is captured in that sense. So today they've laid the groundwork legally of what the actions they are going to do. And if you understand what has been happening the past few days, you see that Mnangagwa, impulsively, exterminated the contract of an active general, Sanyatwa, out of nowhere, something that is unheard of. It simply shows you panic, from the executive side, that there is something that is brewing really, really strong. And it's just a matter of we are reaching the climax. So it's tit for tat now. There's going to be one person who blinks and everything goes off. So as we have discussed last time on this space, a lot of people are making submissions. It's very important to know that Zimbabwean military has been involved and will continue to be involved in the political discourse of this country. There is no major turn of events where the political or the military has never gotten involved. They have been involved. It's in the history of the country. It cannot be ignored. In as much as we don't like it, it continues to be, the norm that the military are the power brokers in this country. So whenever we try to ignore the military and say we disregard it, then we're making a mistake, because the culture started at the Mgagao Declaration. I'm not going to go into history, but now the interesting thing is, now the police have released a statement that we are going to be searching people, arresting anyone who has got these traditional weapons. And it simply shows you that the person or the people behind GEZA are really, really powerful. They are really, really powerful. They are putting one man, and he's shaking the whole executive in all its apparatus. One man. And there's a guy who was talking about there's no trend, there's no interest in this thing. There is huge interest. The guy created a Twitter account in one day, it went 20,000. And you cannot say that's not interest. If you bring any political party here and they do a press conference, you will not have such kind of views. So whether business people, diaspora, locals, or whoever was watching, it's clear that Zimbabweans are interested in their country. They're interested in the national and political issues that are happening in the country. And they will definitely be participating whatever comes, right? So I'm quite impressed by the organizational capacities of these two factions. They're really organized. I hope, and I'm praying that our opposition will take advantage of this, because as I've said before, people are saying don't side with GEZA. It's not your thing. If I am in the opposition and I'm to advise whoever is in the opposition, I would simply say, right now is the best time to pick a dog, right? You need to cheer someone, one of these factions, especially the GEZA faction. You need to cheer them up, whether you like it or not. There is a chance that we might be in a position to take this pose of victory, or even be on the table to facilitate a power sharing agreement. But if you don't take part in this power sharing agreement, don't take part in the exchange of transition of power, then we're not going to have anything. We made the same mistake in 2017. We blindly supported, but we didn't have a strategy like what our opposition parties were doing. So let's not be blind. It's going to be a serious, fierce fighting. When you start seeing names coming out like this, you just know that it's gloves off from here. You see a general, an active general who has served for years, instrumental positions, and then gets demoted to a ministerial position of a sports minister. And, and then you say that there's nothing happening, people are in agreement, everything is well. It is not well. A military general cannot be demoted from such a high position overnight without notice of parliament and the executive like that. It shows disrespect of the army. Even the junior officers are actually talking about this in the barracks. How can their boss be demoted like that, like a dog? So we have very serious infighting. It's just a matter of time before it erupts, and it might shock every one of us. We have to be very careful, actually. We might be shocked. But anyway, that's my few cents. And I hope you guys in the opposition are prepared for this, because it's going to be a nasty fight. And definitely, whatever it is planning, the next move is going to be apparent in the next maybe 4 or 5 days. We have to keep an eye, because it's now move after move, So I thank you for the opportunity. I will return to the speakers.
All right. Thank you, Sam. When you say you guys in the opposition, I bet you're talking of anyone who doesn't support ZANU-PF. So you might be included in that. But thank you. It's interesting because you've got totally different points from, I think, was it Gary Angachitaura kuti it might come out as if GEZA is isolated. Kuti there was the president and the vice president were in the same building or whatever, same event yesterday, and he's appearing just on his own. But from your submission, you brought a different point of view to say no. It's actually not that. Sometimes you don't have to believe everything that you see. It's not always that people can appear in the same place. It might not be that. So quite interesting, but thanks for that, my brother. When do you want to come through?
Yeah, thank you, Mof. Nyamashisha, thank you for opening the space, speakers, listeners. Hey, Zimbabweans, this is very good. One thing I like about GEZA, he's coming out, he apologized. That's the most important thing. And that issue you say that kubva kuna Smith, things have not changed. He even acknowledged that what we fought for is not being enjoyed by all Zimbabweans. Anybody else who cannot resonate with this, I don't know who you are. But here's the thing, makambona here kuti paunongochipfimba musikana ka kune vamwe vasikana kuti ukapfimba anoita faith newe kuti murume wangu uyu achandichengeta zvese zvese, anenge ane hope. Pakuita vamwe vekuti unotanga watombovatengera mapresents kana kutovatengera, vamwe vanotosvika pakutenga marange rover kuti munhu azobvuma kuti ndinochengeta, vamwe vanotobvunzwa credit score yako kuti yakamira sei. So, but he came up today. He knew the other people had that example, and he came up and said, mazita aya muchaona zvachaita, vachanotaurira munhu wavo tsotserawo hombe kuti shamari resign. So he's giving Mnangagwa opportunity to resign, but we are going to go after him. But he's giving him ample time to say, to do the right thing, resign, and whatever way they're going to deal with those people, we don't care. Those people have stolen from us. We don't need to know. And anybody else who is asking where is the assembly and so forth, information here. When it comes to demonstration, I think Owen Charu will come up and tell us, my demonstrations, you don't say where you are assembling. Demonstrations, they happen on that day. Things will just happen. You don't need to. All GEZA, what he's doing is talking to us. He's telling us their position. And the good thing is he has mentioned names. And those names, those are the names we know they're a problem for us for Zimbabwe. And now the bishop of them, he was told to resign. So I think where we are heading Kuribo, and I feel we are safe. And let's see what's going to transpire in the next days. Thank you. Hopefully, I will be in a New Zimbabwe next week. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Right. Thank you, Mendes.
Oh, no, and the Titus, another thing again. The other people is whenever these GEZAs, when they are fighting, they are at work, and don't never expect that these guys they need to be paid for what they are doing. Everybody else on this space, when you work, you need to be paid. So all these people are saying that they are doing this for themselves. No, they are doing it for themselves, and they are also doing for every Zimbabwean. You know what I mean? So they are at work, and when they come in, we're gonna look after them because they've liberated us. So guys, let's not even look at that. They're doing this for themselves, but ourselves now. He said he's gonna fix for everybody. Let's see what is gonna be on the table, and then we can start complaining afterwards. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're right. Appreciate you, Mendes. Thank you. Trust you to give an example. Whatever the conversation. Just for your benefit, Uncle, somebody sent me the thing your mom chitara about numbers and views. So this Kambagwe YouTube, Facebook channel, there's already like 56K views. And it's even Kambagwe, just on Facebook. So I think for the benefit of Nigeria, the numbers that we're talking about, could be the numbers.
No,
the live thing,
Titus.
but the numbers will only go.
Titus.
No, it's okay.
Understand
It's okay.
the baseline. The baseline was buy in.
Okay,
in.
that's okay. That's okay. We get that. Right. Okay, let me move on to who was coming in. I think Baba Juju first.
Yes. How are you, host and co-host? Zvinofadza kuona more than 1,400 of my fellow countrymen kusanganisira opposition, varakashi, masinhamba, madiaspora tese tiripo ipapo. It shows that we love our country and we understand the state yairi. So inini from the presser, first of all, tobva kusanya tuko tafara chose kuona mudhara GEZA achiapologiza because vakamboti mhanyiso zvishuwa nguva yavo, but ukaona madhara makuru abvumo kuti vakambofarisa. It's okay. However, pane statement raataura about Richard Moyo from Martin North raati anoda Mnangagwa zvisingaite end. ari kutikanganisa kumatableland. Is it kukanganisa iZimbabweans here or kukanganisa image yeZanu? But minor. Then inini I'm worried about two things. The first thing ndeyekuti takatarisa pressure, takatarisa space inoyi, we are nearly 1.4k, right? But most majority is diaspora. I mean, the diaspora, most people are also diaspora. So my question is, makatarisa government zvaari kuita nhasi, pane ma-prohibition order atumirwa aya. And without me also very ma-prohibition order ari kuitwa nemapurisa aya. Every superintendent or officer commanding anyora prohibition order. And momo vari kazosteta kuti hanzi section 4 ye-maintenance of peace and order chapter chakati otaura zita rake nekwaanocontrola, then arambidza zvinhu izvi kuti zvitakurwe. And kungwara kwakaita vanhu ava havari kuti hanzi tisu vanhu ndiverenge, hanzi havadiwe macatapults, machets, axes, knob carries, swords, spears, knives, daggers, any traditional weapon whatsoever which is used or capable of being used as a weapon. Then in the statement here, the general public has raised a red flag, hanzi tisu takumbira, over a sharp increase in cases of murder, robberies, assault, and other violent crimes using the above mentioned machines in my areas ava. So once for 3 months, kutanga musi 26 March kusvika 23 June, zvinhu zvazvitodomboonekwa, ukaonekwa unazvo unosungwa kana kuti unobhadhariswa fine or 6 months uri mujeri. And zvaitwa nemunhu wese, and zvaitwa recently also nepolice. So the government now vatipa mutemo, and isusu tiri diaspora. So my question is, are you prepared wewe uri diaspora seni kuti sisi vangu vari kuzimbabwe or mutano vari kuzimbabwe vapinde mustreet musi wa31, uye kana vapinda mustreet macho matizvona zvitaurwe plan hazvitikosie zvinongoitwa haphazardly like kutaurwa panapa. But my question is, tina blessed journalist wedu Dhara akahosta Geza, but Dhara arimo izvezvi akasunga, and nothing is happening in this family repansi. So in as much as we throw out my emotions, but yes, this is good, but plan government yanyatsoseta munhu zvana maintenance of order zvavo izvi. So isusu as people are diaspora, inini I'm targeting one, isusu vasiri muZimbabwe, because inini munhu ari kunyika iri yekutoti I'm free right now kutoita zvandinoita, kutora anything. Kosisi vangu vari kusanyata vakada kuitawo izvi, such a good move. Is there any plan? Or because the police in Zimbabwe, we know these guys, and we know that ZANU-PF is so power hungry, and Waka's plan. And about that statement, so what's the plan exactly? Are we going to sacrifice our own families over this personal strategy, or to see a ZANU-PF thing? Because in Angu personally, I support Angu this initiative because nyika yedu pairi izvezvi kugara diaspora hapana munhu muZimbabwe asina hama iri diaspora. Munhu wese ane hama yakabuda muZimbabwe because of the economy yeZANU-PF. But plan iripo ndeipi? Because vakomana mukona zvakuti vanoisa mitemo yavo, vari kubhana izvi, vari kuita zvakati, enda wakaita mhosva nongokuti apo. Then what for us? Yes, it's a good initiative. It's vanhu ngavapinde vanhu, they should do they should demonstrate what they should do that, but ngatizivei muroi watikatarisana naye, and we know these guys. So we should be, because my main concern is the lack of leadership from, because Chamisa akatedzera akati zvoni siyana inini, ana Linda ikozva kuita zvimaskiti achibuda achiti violence siyana nayo, ana job sikala vanenge vachiti zvoni aiwa musasise zita rangu. So we need these people. We need munhu akaita like this guy wekugweru mukobha uyu this mobilizer, ndakangana zita rake, Chibaya. Ndo vanhu vevanhu what are they? Okay, ngatimbosiyawo Chabangu naProf Ncube, and nothing chiri kutaurwa from the opposition. So toitei alright Zimbabwe? That's my own question, my own worry. Please, mutemo uyu kana pane malawyer uyu zvataurwa nepolice iyi vari kuitei, and how are we going to counteract that? Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Baba Juju, for that. I wanted to ask you yourself, what would you do? But I think your submission, are valid. Some people will respond to it, guys. So we're just responding to. We're getting reactions to the presser that we've just heard from the bombshell himself, Comrade Geza. So that was about a 20-minute presser that he had, and he did mention a lot of names, that are the criminals that are around. And some of the names that we get was Kudakwasheta Gwirei, Wicknell Chivayo. We've got Scott Sakupwanya Guamatanga, Julius Charumbira. We've got John Panonesa Mangujga. We've got Mtuli Ngube, our finance minister, Obey Chinyika. We've got Paul Tungwarara. We've got Douglas Kwande. We've got Daniel Garwe. We've got Owen Mudan Ngube. We've got Tatenda Mavetera. We've got Mebo Chinemona. We've got Jacob Mundenda. We've got Tinoma Chakaire. We've got Chris Mchangwa. Even said, Chris, you need to look around you. Look at the group that is surrounding you. Look at the people surrounding you. So we've got Paradzai Anzi Futseke Geza Futseke. He doesn't know what he's saying. He was just laughing. Vaseka Jawishe Geza. Anyway, there are more names that have been mentioned there. I'm sure you people have got them. So let's just hear your reaction to that. So Gatende Kunamkoma on Chari. Koma Chari, do you want to come through?
Thank you. Ndisati ndaenda stere ndozokangana umuresa angojedza kwakachena. Angojedza ndepi?
Havana ndevi.
Hatinavo mukoma Geza.
Ndichakuendesa kunenge. Ndichakuendesa kublog view.
No ndapareko angojedza. Musadaro kumana. Tuna Zimbabwe. Okay, guys. When Geza came in the other time, he said a word that is called decoy. We should try and research and understand that word decoy. The 31st that is coming in and all this that is being said. If you are looking at your watch and you say on the 31st, that's when the action is going to start, I think you are lying to yourself. The action started long back. That's why you heard him saying, wait for the action. You think I'm just saying things, but wait and see what is going to happen. I have no doubt that Geza is powerful because him alone, he has shaken Presidium, he has inspired changes around the government. Everyone is in his toes as we speak. The police commissioner is in his toes. Army generals are in their toes. Mnangagwa is in his toes. His family is in his toes. Zvigananga zvese zviri in their toes. Vana Jefferson Muskwere havasisiri kuZimbabwe. They are on their toes. Daenda ndirini kana angojedza. Anofunga kuti pane munhu aimbotsukunyuka kana kuzungunuka because we don't have that influence. But do not doubt the influence that Geza have. We should appreciate that. And I also maintain my position that I'm going to support the 31st plan, not because it is coming from ZANU-PF, but because it is coming from a Zimbabwean who is resonating with what I believe in, who is singing a chorus that I've been singing for a longest time. As I respond to the details and find information about the protest, if any protest becomes an obvious, if you look at a protest that has got a date, and then you sit down and look at it and you have an understanding on how it is going to be done and when is it going to be done, what is going to happen, that is not a protest, and that protest will not come through. This one, everything that they are saying is a decoy. They are giving us information, but not to our understanding or to the understanding of everybody. Because if we start to understand things as they unfold, it means that the enemy or Mnangagwa will prepare. And we know that it's got the machinery, it's got the weapons to stop that. He is prepared to kill every Zimbabwean and be left by his own cronies and his friends and zvikananga zvake kuti varambe vachiba. So a sane person cannot expose himself to that. Even Geza himself, he cannot expose himself to that. Those who are saying, show us that you are interested. If you show interest that you are for this plan, you will die by tomorrow, because he will not hesitate to eliminate you. Izvozvi zvari kurwira mate, they are here. Those killers are here. Vanotumwa vacho kuuraya varipo panapa. Vari kutorwira mate kuti tomubata seiko Owen timupfuudze. Gerald tomubata sei. Titus tomuwana papi kuti timudambure. Because that's what they want. Samufati mimi vangatadze kuendera Geza vonomudambura musoro. Kana vakadambura Solomon Mujuru vangatadze Geza. Why not? Saka obvious. It cannot be that easy. It cannot be that obvious that we know that on the 31st, 1:30, 8:30 p.m., a.m., whatever time, people are going to come on the street. It's not going to be like that. Things are going to happen. Action is going to happen, but it's not as you think. It's not obvious, because we are not dealing with lay people. It's not an uprising or a protest of saying, can we have election reforms? We sit down and we organize, and they will know that the opposition is going to come. Geza command an extra power and authority that he has. He is a threat to them, and they know and they understand it. They're trying to do everything to subvert that. They've gone to his farm. They've beaten people there in Sanyat. They're trying to muzzle him. But a sane Zimbabwean would gather with him or will support him. If you see anything that is opposed by the authority, it means that thing is a threat to their power. If he was not a threat to their power, they were going to have business as usual. They were not even going to mind anything. There's somebody who said Chiwenga was there in the Politburo when Mnangagwa was being scolded by Grace Mugabe. Wasn't he there? Wasn't he quiet? But what happened the next day? He skipped the border. And what happened a few weeks later? He came back and he became the president. You think he didn't know that he was going to be the dark horse for that arrangement that time? He knew. So you want it to be obvious that even Chiwenga, if he's the dark horse, he should show it now by not coming for the Politburo or by not showing up. And then you think it will go easy like that? They are strategizing. They are planning. It should not be an obvious thing like baking a cake. We are talking of a war here. And then there's somebody who talked of restrictions of weapons. Yes, they feel threatened. They know that if people are having weapons, if a civil war is going to come, people will be having weapons. And then it's going to be uncontrollable. This is a sign or the beginning of state of emergency, if you don't know. That already is a sign that state of emergency is going to come. It's going to sail through if we are not careful. If we don't come out with on our numbers, something worse is going to come. More restrictions are going to come. That's the beginning. Can you imagine? How are we going to survive if a state of emergency is called out. So we need to come out with our numbers and remove this in the crazy people that are controlling Zimbabwe today, that are stealing. Some people were saying, why are you supporting Geza? He's ZANU-PF. Yes, he is ZANU-PF. I know, I'm not blind. I know. But why am I supporting him? I'm supporting him because he's putting a stop to Mnangagwa. Who is Mnangagwa right now? Mnangagwa right now, he has got authority over everything. He has got authority over ZANU-PF itself. He's got influence in the day and everyday runnings of Zimbabwe. He can point to someone and be killed. He's got authority to people's lives. He can choose to eliminate anyone and people can do that. So I should put a stop to that first and deal with everything else that is going to come. But for now, Chiwenga has got no power, has got no authority.
All right. Have you landed, Owen? Okay. Right. Thanks, my brother Owen Chari for that. Thank you, Uncle. So the next lineup are queer. So we've got Dr. Tadini, Cyril, Kuzai, Mimi, and Miss Cheng. So that's the next ones coming through.
All right, mukomataitasi mukomajirati makadi vataura vese makadi vari kuteerera vese ndinovimba everyone is in good health is in these moments of excitement and euphoria. Chekutanga chatataura ndechekuti I think favor is there. Not sure if it is the favor of God or the favor of something else, but when it comes to Geza, there is a lot of favor. Because I'm sure he can say today a tree grows from a seed, and everyone will clap hands and say that is the most profound thing that a man can say, is what people are saying right now. Because if we are being honest, what Giza has said is nothing new. Even the list that he came up with is not anything new. Everyone knows Hubert Angel has been fingered in theft. Though I don't know how people would say that's so profound that we have a list and that's so unique. The list has always existed. We know the accusations that have always been laid before Tagire and how they extend to a point where the Seventh-day Church has been asked whether they are true Christians. Because how can they not challenge a minister of their own who is being accused to be a creed or a principal in the suffering of the Zimbabwean people? But I guess it will look like something that is profound. People have even gone as far as saying, oh no, it's different from 2017 in that 2017 no list was given, which is again just a deliberate misrepresentation of history, or I would say, if I'm being nice and giving people the benefit of the doubt, maybe it's a simple misremembering. Because if you remember properly, back in 2017, the war veterans also gave a list. And on their list, top on that list was Kasukuwere and Jonathan Moore. Those were some of the people that were top of the list. And a lot of other people that ended up going into exile. Some known, some unknown, and some that simply disappeared. Up to today, no one knows where they are. But lists existed. The statements were exactly the same also. I think what I would give to people is that the slight difference is back then in 2017, they were not as brave as including Mugabe into it. Maybe because Mugabe was their godfather and they actually had a lot of respect for him. And they didn't want to threaten him in any way, or because they understood that Mugabe had long lost his faculties and he was no longer the one in control. For all Zimbabweans, you might have said he lost control in his last 2 years, but maybe they understood, as people who were closer to him, that he had lost control 4 or more years before that. So maybe that's why they didn't have a bone to chew with the men in particular, but had a bone to chew with everyone else around him. and they gave lists. So what he has done again for the people that are saying it's unique, I think you need to go back to your history. For the people that are saying the list has not existed, I think you need to go back to history. Opposition leaders have been saying this, they've come up with the list and they've said it. International media organizations have come up with the list and they've said it. Some of the people that have been mentioned now exist on sanctions list. They have a lot of travel bans, they have a lot of scrutiny, because it's something that is not a secret. But we are very good at this. You know, we will look for something that we can clap hands for because we want to feel good in the moment, and we won't be objective about the matter at hand. Now, me emphasizing this is not to say, well, maybe there's nothing that is to be celebrated about what business is. It is for me to say there's no need for us to rewrite history or this celebrating. We should just say, wo mukomana pamwanga asikazviziye, sekuru vangu vasikazviziye, vazojoina the rest of the nation and the rest of the world mukuzviziya, because this is international knowledge. Everyone knows this, even ukatobvunza the United States government kuti munhu wamuri kufunga kuti ari kugeza mari yemaamericans yemazimbabweans ari kuopresa vamwe ndeupi, vanotokupai the same list. Ivavo vacho vamuri kutaura, including vakuru vemabhizinesi vamataura, vanotongoudzi ndo vanhu varipo. So we should welcome him to that circle, but let's not welcome him and try and then rewrite history or bastardize the efforts of other leaders. Ndatonzwa vamwe vakuenda as far as saying we've never had opposition leaders that are this good at putting down matters. I think I can challenge you to just even maybe go and read some of the posts from a relatively new opposition leader such as Mahere. And if you are still able to say there's no one who can give clarity at the same level as it has been given by Geza, you're just being untruthful. People that if we were to get into a race today, I would be on opposite sides with them, but I cannot still say the same statement that people are trying to make here. Because I'm sure the advocate, even if he's on his sabbatical, has been very clear about the people that are stealing from us, where they come from, what their identities are, what their camps, and what their motives are. Even though I disagree with him on a lot of ideological positions, I can never stand up to say he's not a man who's clear and needs to learn from a war veteran in the form of Geza how to speak and to list the people that are doing us wrong. We need to accept that the euphoria we have around Geza is because Geza is bringing a force that is not civil, a force that we do not have in the civil organizations, in the civil political groups that want to give civilian rule a chance in Zimbabwe. That is the only reason. Not that he is a man who's very clear, not that he's a man who's profound and bringing anything new. People are simply excited because he might be bringing part of the army. And we have to be true about that because there are consequences to it. The consequences are if part of the army is participating in this transformation, that part of the army is going to declare itself the ruler of Zimbabwe. The same way that the army in 2017 declared itself the kingmaker in Zimbabwe and dictated to the people of Zimbabwe who is going to be the next leader. The other thing that I found, not from Geza, but from listening to people here, the other thing that I found very disturbing is how Zimbabweans can whitewash a person from simply saying so. And it took me back again to 2017, because Zimbabweans were willing to whitewash a man who is accused of genocide of an entire region. Let that sink in. We were willing simply because he came up and said, no, resources are not and sure people were willing to look aside to the accusations of an entire genocide. That is the same thing that we are doing now. Sorry, as if they've not said sorry before, as if 2 years back they were not in charge of building institutions such as FARS, which were responsible for taking away your civilian rights, your rights to dictate who becomes the president. They were behind that, as if they did not participate in the intimidation and finally the outcome that is disputed, in making sure that it is disputed. Up to today, we say that the election was disputed. Who participated or made it to be in such a state in which it would be challenged? Are these not the same people that you are saying now because they have said sorry, everything is kumbaya? Azakaoma. That is what I found very disturbing. And I was like, are we ever going to be able to bring anyone to account if all it takes is for that person to say a few words that we have been saying for the past 20 years and then add a sorry at the end and then continue to say, now I want to take power for myself? And I think if you go back and you actually listen to the presentation, you understand that the main grievance that the war vet has is that the war vet have not been given sufficient benefits. They are feeling that they are very poor and should not get bicycles, which I agree with them. But our struggle has to go beyond that. It has to go to the common person who's on the street and what their benefits has also been, or the lack of
A
benefits for
quick
being a
question to you,
Zimbabwean.
Tadino. Sorry to interrupt. While you're on that, don't you think sometimes sorry when it's sincere to some people, or what's out about our history and how some people are quick to forget? Could you sometimes say if it is done genuinely and sincerely, sometimes, especially looking at the history, it can actually give my emotional healing to to some people if it's something that is sincere?
Commentators, you do not your meter to measure whether someone is sincere or not. And repeatedly here you have told me that people
How do you
crocodiles
measure? How do you
pushing
measure a
out.
sincere apology? You yourself, how do you measure a
Exactly.
sincere apology? Do you have it?
You
Yeah,
cannot.
but still,
You cannot.
but
So
no,
allow me
no,
to
no,
call.
wait,
No,
no, wait. You cannot entirely, dismiss, that on the basis that, there's no measurement tool to measure. People are very good. People can judge for themselves that,
are you
what,
done?
this
Are you
apology
done?
is coming from a sincere place,
Good.
and you accept it. So
Good.
we can't just brush it off,
Good.
because when people
I'm not.
say, or when I heard them speak,
Nkoma
and
Gerard,
when he apologized, it actually struck me in a certain way, because I was a recipient, or I witnessed the people being abused by these people, and hearing somebody apologize who says I was part and parcel of that, to them is something maybe that brings peace in them. So we can't just here say that because somebody has said that, and we go out and disparage their remark on the basis that there's no measurement to measure there's no a sincerity tool that we can measure how sincere that individual was.
thank you very much. I'm sure you are done. I'm not saying dismiss it. I'm saying the crimes do not go away. So the argument you are having is not the argument that I'm having. I'm saying even
No,
if
but you see,
the
but the
president,
argument that you are
Nkoma
having is
Gerard,
you are
I'm
disparaging,
not having an
everything.
argument
You
with you.
guys, or you guys,
I'm,
political
I'm not
parties,
dis.
you are saying, oh, this individual, we can't be charged just because he is saying this, but this is something, that we have been talking about for the past 20 years. What have you done for those, past 20 years
Good.
as opposition, political parties? What is it that you have done apart from going into an
Good.
election, knowing that it is a flawed, election, you get cheated out of that, election, we cry, Zambia, go on, rule for the next, 5 years. What is it that has been done that is outside of an election for us to then come here, all gun blazing, and attack this effort here?
Good. Thank you. I hope you are
No,
done
no, no,
talking,
no. No.
Nkoma
Come
Gerard.
on now. Don't be condescending.
I'm not.
Come on now.
No, Nkoma Gerard. I'm trying to respond
Good if
to
I'm
every
done.
time you are saying something. But
Good
then,
I'm done. You don't have to say, oh, I hope you're done. I hope no. This, because you've done that, for 2 occasions now.
because every time I try to speak, then kind of appears something
Yes,
else.
you
That's
mean
why I'm
as a
saying.
host, I can
I do not
interject.
mean.
Yes, I
Okay.
hope
All
you
right. Good.
appreciate that.
Okay. So I do. That's why I'm keeping quiet whenever you do it. Now I will continue. So when I say that I'm really disturbed that an apology can whitewash a person, I'm looking back at the history and saying that the same people made apologies in 2017, and we were willing to extend to them the benefit of the doubt. But what has that led to? It has led to a Zimbabwe that is worse. So whenever someone apologizes, we should accept their apology and give them the benefit of the doubt that they are sincere. But the crime should never go away, and they should still be held accountable for the crimes that they've committed. That is all that I am saying. So no matter how much someone comes to me and says, I stole from you yesterday and I am sorry, I will still have to tell them that the docket is already open. And if there is a set charge, you have to answer to that charge if you are sincere. These people, if they are sincere, then they should be able to do the same. That this is the crime that we committed, and this is what we stipulated in our law, that this is the penalty of the crime. So we do not set a precedence that every time the next leader comes, does something, apologizing, they can go away with it. It doesn't matter how much we like the leader. What I am fighting for here is to set a precedence of the respect of law. Law does not work in the way that if someone comes to apologize, then we forgive them. No, you are expected to apologize so that people can extend some lenience to you, or the judge can extend some lenience to you, but it does not whitewash you. This is why I'm speaking about this. To say if there is sincerity to this, then Zimbabweans have to ask how many times have people apologized? And should an apology be used for people not to, for the law not to be utilized to its full extent? Then I'll go on the asking the opposition to just participate. There's a serious contradiction. People will say it is a decoy. Do people understand what a decoy is? A decoy is something that is not real, a dummy. Back in the World War II, people used to make tankers that are fake and pretend as if a whole army is marching. And that small pretense group would actually be attacked and sometimes destroyed. They'll be used as dummies. So when you are asking opposition to step in and participate in something that has already been declared as a decoy, how do you want them to present themselves as bodies to be used as dummies? So there's a serious contradiction when someone says, we know that it is a decoy, but we're saying all of you go in there. What does that mean? And this is why I've always emphasized that if we are going to support this, we have to support it from a tactical position. And I support it from this position. I will clap hands for GEZA. I will say, GEZA, do the most, show your strength, show it to the fullest. Usajairiro, General, do the most, show your strength, show it to the fullest. But I am not willing to participate by giving my own body in something that I've been told that I might be the decoy. Do I know the full extent of what that means? And what is the consequence to me, who is the decoy? So I think that is something that is fair for us to interrogate and speak to. And I think it will be going beyond when we ask opposition leaders to just jump in and just support for the sake of supporting. When in the same breath, we're saying we do not want you to repeat the mistakes of 2017, where you join something that you do not fully understand. So what is it that you want? You want them to fully understand and to create their own power so that they can also demand for the citizens what is fair for the citizens? Or do you want them to just join in as followers who don't understand what it is that they're participating in? I think it is critical to ask that question. In lending, Ngoma Gerard, I will say this. The fight that is happening in ZANU-PF was not started by the ordinary citizen on the street. It was started by them. It is their internal fight. How they have continued with it, such as the protection of GEZA, is not being extended by the citizens. GEZA is getting its protections from the power that he already holds and the backing that that power and what power his backing has. So the citizens of Zimbabwe can afford to see this fight go on whilst they are watching from the terrace without actually dying, because it is not them who started the fight. And at this point, given zvaitika zvekuti mazita atotaurwa, the fight cannot be stopped. Given that Panama accusations are to floated between the president and his vice president, with one wanted to poison the other or poisoned the other, there is already blood in the water, and the sharks are circling. And this fight will go on, regardless of you and me stepping out into the street on the 31st. So it is safer for Zimbabweans to build their own strength, build their own plans in the meanwhile, and all they have to do is cheer them and cheer them some more. And trust me, the fight will still go on.
Right.
They will rip each other to pieces. Then lastly, Yamabvunza Mukoma Gerard, I don't think I can respond it fairly. What has the opposition done? But this is a thing where we start to castigate a struggle that has gone on for 40 years. There's a lot that the opposition has done to get to this point that we are. They have held back floodgates, such as in 2002, 2018, where we could be in a one-party state. The mere fact that they have not been able to totally dislodge ZANU-PF does not mean that they haven't done anything and that it is not worth celebrating. We are having difficulties, and the only way for us as opposition to overcome those difficulties is if the whole of Zimbabwe, or the critical mass of Zimbabwe, joins or extends its hand to those oppositions, whether it is organization that you think we are suffering with, or it is manpower, what people term as the numbers. All those can only be rectified by people participating fully, not as spectators. You see, but I will never stand here. This is my last sentence, Gerard. I only recently got into my third decade, and I was only joined opposition in 2021 fully, and this is from student politics. I can never stand and say like Mashura because I the people that were reigning, they did not do enough. I can say we need to add to what they have done. Thank you.
Ango, can I please respond?
Am I next?
Ango, could I please 2 minutes rebuttal?
Right, go ahead.
Thank you so much. So let me speak as someone who has not joined the GEZA bandwagon, or someone who is watching from the terraces. Because there's a problem that I've noticed especially from opposition, especially I'm thinking that opposition, we are getting elements who are very much toxic. Because in one sentence, they're accepting that this is a ZANU-PF internal fight. Yesterday, Zimbabwe was playing against, was it yesterday, Ango? Yesterday Zimbabwe was playing, the Warriors were playing against Nigeria, right? And what we are seeing attempts from people from Zimbabwe trying to influence the Nigerian, starting 11, or the substitutions, or the team talk. You say during your team talk, you are supposed to say this, or you're not supposed to say this. I think it's not fair. So we have GEZA here. He's got a serious problems with Mnangagwa. He has serious problems with Gananda. He came with his list and how he's going to address the problems that he have. I did not, maybe I missed it. In the presser today, I did not hear GEZA extending invitations to opposition. I might have missed it, and I stand to be corrected. Right? So he came up, addressed the press to say these are the criminals, and they are going to target those criminals. That's GEZA, and it's a ZANU-PF fight. What we cannot do as opposition is then to try to say, no, in your speech, you're not supposed to apologize. He can apologize. He said sorry to someone. There are some who are ready to forgive, right? I think we don't have a process to say, for you to be able to forgive someone, you need to get to this level, right? He was speaking to Zimbabweans, right? And Zimbabweans, right, you find that they cut across. He was also addressing ED in that thing, right? Did he apologize to ED? Maybe he did not. He was addressing some of us, right? His apology, did we accept his apology? Maybe we did not accept his apology. But this is a ZANU-PF fight, Ango, right? And it's good that as a ZANU-PF fight, what we can do as opposition is, if we make a stand to say we are going to sit, right, have our popcorn, clap hands. So let's just sit and not disturb. Because the moment we try to come and water down, try to lecture GEZA on how he's supposed to carry himself, what he's supposed to say and what he's not supposed to say, then I think that's just not, that's just not being has got his watch how he's going to attack Gananda. So be it. Isi tongomira zvedu tichiokera tichiomberera kana tichida kuomberera. What you cannot do is to try to discourage
Me, I'm going to trying to call me.
Mukoma Gerard, I will just remind Mukoma Smarters what he reminded me yesterday. Title yenyu is reaction. And he is correct that our opinions and our reactions are varied. So he should also not expect all our reactions to be one of support. And the other thing is, I think he needs to go back to listen to the recording. I did not say Geza should not apologize. I said everyone should apologize for what they have done. But the law, to show that they are sincere, they should also support the law in taking its full extent for the crimes that they have accepted. As simple as that. You can apologize as much as you want. That's not my argument. I can't even tell you not to apologize. That would be hypocritical of me, being a Christian. I'm saying the law should still be allowed to take its full extent. I think let's not put words into each other's mouths. But my key response to Nkoma's matters is look at the topic. We are reacting, and you react in your own way. I will react in my own. There are those that agree with my reaction. There are those that agree with yours. You can also not dictate how I will react, whether my reaction is for support or against.
Right.
Can I
However, as
also
it
throw
stands,
a
it is for
rebut?
support while you are
Right.
sitting, while you are sitting at the
Can I also
terraces.
throw a
Right.
rebut, Uncle
So
Jedza?
that is
Right.
my reaction.
Right, guys. Right. Okay, guys. Sorry. Move us. Move us.
Uncle.
Are you sorry? Nangana step out. Kapane munanga weba do. Were you following? This. Back and forth.
Yes, I was. Yeah, in the background. Not
Right.
specifically,
Okay.
but in the background. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No problem. All right, guys. Can we give other people, the opportunity, to speak, so that we get as many people, to come through and speak? I think, if we open it up, to everyone, instead of having, this back and forth, I don't think we are the only ones, that have had, this, that wants, to react. So can I bring in Koma Kudzai? Kudzai Sarwaka, please. Can you take the mic?
Good evening, Comrade Gerard, Comrade Titus, Comrades Smarters, and other guys whom I can see here. Can you allow me to use Shona? I don't know.
Please
Comrade
go ahead.
Gerard, can I use Shona? Hello?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Please go ahead.
Right, tatenda hedu. Ndanganda ndine presentation yangu. Then pazoitawo presentation yauya yatachiti maybe tinogona kunonga 1 or 2. Regai ndisasapinde mairi kuitira kuti tipe vamwe mukana. Ndiri kuona tawanda vanhu maspeakers ari kumashure. Regai ndipinde mupresentation yangu. Presentation yangu iri in 3 parts. Part number 1 iri kuenda straight papresentation yapiwa naComrade Geza. Presentation yapiwa naComrade Geza in disguise iri kudefine chatinoti deep state. Chatinogara tichitaura mumasocial media kuti deep state kuti chii. So chatinenge chiti deep state isisu tiri kutarisa kuti isisu vanhu vanenge vari mugovernment vari influential, vanenge vachipusha maagendas avo ivo privately, asi vari vanhu vari kuita zvinhu zvinobatsira nyika at the end of the day. Like kuna naAmerica izvezvi kwakapinda vana Elon Musk vari kupusha maagendas avo, asi at the same point vari kubatsira government. Iri kuita employment, iri kuita this, iri kuita this. So Comrade Geza,
zvekuAmerica dai mazvisiya, hapana employment iriko.
Aiwa, chimomirai ngoma, chimomirai.
Alright, regai tipedze presentation inogona kusabudisa chokwadi mukaibatira panzira. Right. So Comrade Geza vari kutarisa pasituation yegovernment yatinoziva yemuZimbabwe yekutanga yaComrade Mugabe. Taiziva taitaura zvana Econet, vana Strive Masiyiwa ndivo vanga vari mubusiness macho, kuchingo dairies yanga ine vanga vari kuruling nevanga vari kuopposition vachiemploy vachipusha mainterest avo, vana Tereseo, vana mageneral, vana Zvinawashe vachipusha maschools and this and that. tiri kuti vanhu vanga vaine power mugovernment but vaipusha maprojects kana mabusinesses aibatsira nyika, ndiyo yatinenge tichiti deep state. Kune vanhu vasinganzwisisi chinhu ichi, vanenge vachingofungidza kuti masoja kana achiti deep state, maCIO nechii. No, vanhu vatinoti deep state vanhu vane stake in the government kana kuti in the national GDP. Like in Zimbabwe, patakapedzisira kuita ongororo, deep state yeZimbabwe panguva yaMugabe yaiona 40 to 46% national GDP. Saka ndosaka mainzwa paya vachinzi Mugabe ngaaende vachiti haiendi nepenzura because vane mainterests avari kuprotecta, but mainterests acho mamwe acho aibatika, mamwe acho anga asingabatiki. Pakazowanda mbavha in the name of deep state, ndo pakazonzi aiwa hazvichaiti izvi because maakungoisa mari muhomwe menyu, hapasisina chiri kubatsira nyika. So Comrade Geza vaakubuditsa deep state yenew government the second dispensation. Pavari kuedza kubudisa deep state yenew dispensation ndo pavari kutanga kubudisa vana Comrade Chivai. Vari kunzi havana kana kambani 1 yatiri kuziva isisu neadresi yayo kuti iri papi, iri kubatsira chii, handiti. Pobudiswa mazita akawanda anga achibudiswa aya list mariona paripo. So izvozvo zvakubudisa kuti no, iyi haisisiri, havasisiri vanhu vane national interest dzambavha idzi. That was the main point yanga ichibudisirwa list naComrade Geza. Vari kuedza kubudisa kuti vanhu vaakurana government havasisiri vanhu vane power vari kupusha mainterest ekubatsira nyika kuti iende kumberi, ivo vachibatsirika nawo. Vanhu vaakurana government vanhu vari kupusha maagendas ekubatsira ivo nemhuri dzavo chete. So ruzhinji rweZimbabwe haurusisina chauri kubenefita, pane vanhu vari kubenefita from the power iripo pari zvino. So kana zvadaro ngatibvisei the center of power. Ndiyo point yaComrade Geza yavanga vachibudisa. Ndiyo point number 1 yandanga ndakanyora pasi. Ndosaka ndaisa in three points. Then point number 2. Tiri kuona moves ese ari kuitwa kubva kuma-comrades. Havasi Comrade Geza vatanga kuti no zvinhu hazvina kumira munyika. Hazvina kumira zvakanaka munyika. The opposition yese, even ikaita 10 parts dzeopposition, vanga vachitaura chinhu chimwe chekuti maraniro ari kuita nyika haana kumira zvakanaka. Tikaona mapolitical parties, different political parties dzichifoma, vanhu tichienda kumarallies tichidai zvinhu zvachinjwa. Election ikaitwa, yaitwa election haina kuanaunzwa zvakanaka zvakaita kuti tese tigunun'une tibhilive kuti election yabirwa. Then vaitungamira muelection macho kuopposition vakati no, election haina kuitwa nemazvo, isisi tiri kufungidzira kuti tabirwa. Dai zvinhu zvaitwa nemazvo tirisu tiri in power. Saka kana zvakadaro imimi muri kuti mahwina, mune ruzhinji rwevanhu, chiendererai mberi muchitonga nyika. Kana muine backing yevanhu, nyika inofanira kuenda kumberi. Makore mairi matatu taakuona kuti nyika haisi kuenda kumberi, zviri kureva kuti election hainoitwa zvakanaka. Ndiwo masigns and symptoms anoratidza kuti election yaitwa zvakanaka. Kana mawana majority, muine rutsigiro rwevanhu rwakanaka, nyika inofanira kufamba nepesi inotarisirwa kunzi nyika iri kufamba, zvakaita dzimwe dzamuri kuona idzi dzinopiwa mareference each and every day nevanenge vari mumasocial media nevanonyora mapepa nawo. So ndiyo point number 2 yatiri kuedza kuti tibudise. But tiri ipapo pane vanhu vari kuedza kupusha the next agenda yekuti vakomana dai zvinhu zvaenda power radzokera kuvanhu, inonzi chii, economy yaranwa nemazvo pasina mbavha dziri kuisa zvinhu zvenyika muhomwe dzavo. Ndo patiri kuti patiri kuedza kupusha hapasi kushayikwa vanhu vane biblical reference. Kune characters atinowana mubhaibheri. Number 1 tinowana character yaJudas Iscariot. Number 2 tinowana character yaPeter wekuzodhauta katatu uya. Number 3 tinowana inonzi chii, character yaSimon of Cyrene wakazobatsira Jesu kutakura muchinjiko kuti zvinhu zviende kumberi. So patiri kuedza kufamba hatisi kushaya wana Judas Iscariot in the process. Then hatisi kushayawo madoubting Thomas wana Peter vari kudhauta katatu. But iwo tinewo vamwe vashoma vatiri kufamba nawo wakamirira wana Simon of Cyrene vari kubatsira kuti agenda yekuti Zimbabwe isununguke iende kumberi. Ndo vanhu vatiri kufara nawo, vatiri kutenda izvezvi, vari kubhilivha mumessage yapiwa naComrade Geza yekuti ndaona vanhu vafara pamberi apa. Ndio vanhu vatiri kutarisira nawo. So tiri kuona kuti pane pamwe patinenge tapusha toona zvinhu zvakuda kuita, toona zvinhu zvoenda kumashure. Vanenge varipo wana Judas Iscariot vanenge vazotengesa ipapo. Tine zvimwe zvinhu zvatisiri kunzwisisa, takuedza kuonesana. Tiri kupusha izvezvi kuti vakomana mamiriro aita nyika asisina kumira zvakanaka. Zvigananda zviri kutora mari yenyika zvichisa mhomwe yavo. Even Reserve Bank yacho kana ikada kuti itungamire zvinhu hazvisi kufamba because mari yakuenda, the loopholes they are too much. So pasine zvigananda, that was the first point yakataurwa even na Vice President. Because vari musystem vari kuona. Then takazoshamisika kuona pakuitwa football tournament kana celebration vakudedza Army General uyai football celebration jezi rakutengeswa 250 and this and that. Takatanga kushamisika from there. Vazhinji hatina kunzwisisa what was going on. Saka even zvinhu zvakaitika nezuro nanhasi hatisati taziva kuti zvakafamba sei, but we were very shocked kuona an Army General kana commander weZNA wachienda kunokomita I don't know new team jezi robva ratengeswa 250 and we suspecting money laundering deals nezvimwe zvinhu zvatisiri kutrust, but we cannot conclude. But those are some of the things which we were not happy of. Kuti vanhu vatiri kufungidzira kuti we gave them trust, takuona vakusaidha nezvigananda zvacho, we were not happy about that point. So even kana Comrade vakanzi vamboleader sport, for now it seems kuti vakashowa interest kusport ikoko. That one iyoyo ngatimboisendekei paside. Then Comrade Geza's points today.
Can you prepare to lend Nkoma because we've got quite a few speakers. Ichingoti gaga mulende, please.
Okay, I'm going to third point. Okay, can I mark prepare kulenda? Maybe some seconds. The third point ndeyekuti vanhu vanogona kuona sezvinhu zviri kunonoka kana kuti zviri kuramba kana paine mapushes ekuti ngatiite kuti Zimbabwe inake, ngatistopei this and that. It's very difficult to stop one vane power. Worse off kana vaine mari yekuba sekutaurwa kwazviri kuita isiri kuuya nenzira kwazvo. It's very difficult. It's more like a mafia. It's not an easy task iyoyo. Anditi. So the first move yamunofana kuita, you need to check my power points. Kuti where is their power? Vakatembei vanhu ivavo. Anditi you see. So pa move uri kuitwa nana Comrade Geza iroro, we are noting something down. Kuti okay, paitwa this move, okay, vadai so wabudisa matengas, ndoko vari kutemba, wabudisa this, ndoko vari kutemba, message yawaisa kuarmy ndeipi, anditi. That's the information yatinayo, message yawaisa kupolice ndeipi, anditi. Message yawaisa kupublic ndeipi. That's the first stage yatokwanisa kuona kana muda kuita do a revolution, you need to see kuti the enemy, ma power points ake ndeipi. You cannot identify my power points the enemy musina kuita in move to attack. Sandiri kuona vamwe vari kuti aiwa zvinobudirira rezvoita sei. Kubudirira kana kusabudirira, in fact hapana kusabudirira. It's a process inofana kufamba in points. The stage iripo iri kubudiswa ndeyekuti we need to know the power points. And izvezvi they are already behind because we managed to note down kuti ma power points ndeaya neaya. Handiti muri kuona. My threats avo ndeaya neaya, my strengths avo ndeaya neaya. That was the first move. Ndozvega zvatanga tichida. So the move yaComrade Geza yavanga vachiita within this month yaseva a purpose. Our documents, they are well written. We now know kuti the enemy iri kutemba each. So whoever is going to try to save the people pa next move, akuziya kuti taakubata apa, tichibata apa, tichienda kumberi. Handi muri kuona. Saka ngatisaite vanhu vekuti tinofanira kuda zvinhu zvinongoti nhasi zvaitwa mangwana zvakutofanira kuva successful. No, panoda a lot of intelligence because hatisi kudhila nemadofo panapa. This is the thing which you need to understand. Number two, hatisi kudhila nevanhu vasina ma-resources. These people have got resources. Number two, they are well educated and they are also investing. But at the end of the day, we managed to expose everything within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Pasina any inhibition yanga iripo. So ngati supportei zviri kuitwa naComrade Geza tiri kuzvifarira. But for now, I think it served the whole purpose. We now know zvavakatemba. Taona matsamba, I think awanda. Mamwe akaiswa zvidhindo 5. I don't know Comrade Titus mukatarisa munoona pane matsamba mamwe angaine 5 zvidhindo. Imagine kuti munhu akangana kuti aisa zvidhindo. Pesa chimwe kusvika kunumber 5. And did you see? So ndo purpose yaComrade Geza. Kana vakamuka vakanyarara zvavo mangwana vasikachatauri, he served his purpose. Takumirira vamwe because struggle haipushwe nemunhu one. Takumirira the next move woita it's a relay kusvika tasvika taenda kumberi. I can lean down now tipe vamwe chance mazvita henyu.
No, Mashita Zvenyu, Koma Kozai for that. No, thank you very much for your points. Right, I think we're going to Mimi, then Miss Cheng. Mimi?
Okay, Nyabonga. Sawubona Titus. How are you?
I'm okay, yourself?
I'm good. I will speak in Ndebele and English, so that I can clearly express myself. Good evening, Zimbabwe. Ngithemba liphile kahle. What I want to say is that I resonate with Geza's message. Why? Because he has stood against 2030. Honestly, all along, all people have been saying no to 2030, but no one was doing anything. Abantu bonke bebesithi no to 2030, no to 2030, but no one was challenging that. Hence, uGeza uyasukuma, he's standing against that. So I will always stand with him. Ngibe sengisiza futhi, I'm actually worried about the youth and the opposition. Surely, I believe that the youths were supposed to be on the forefront of this because it's our future that is being destroyed, especially by the current system. I so wish if they were going to be on the forefront of this. Nize again, near opposition. If the opposition had to look at this thing with a proper political strategy, they were going to have the upper hand. But unfortunately, but if they were to look at it, they were going to have the upper hand. Nyabonga Titus, I'm not going to talk too much. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you so much for your brief and precise